Here is a account where we have successfully deployed pausing campaigns and changing bits as a tactic, and the account year to date is up 10% and the TACOS is down 13.93%. Okay, so some people say, oh, pausing campaigns is so bad and hurts your campaign score. Sorry, but obviously it doesn't. Obviously it doesn't, right? Like, I mean, I don't really care about my opinion. I don't care about my opinion. I don't care about other people's opinion. That might be like mean or controversial, but the only thing that I care about is results and data. And what's going on, everybody? My name is Paul. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're talking about day partying again, because I think that's kind of like the most important topic right now. And that's oftentimes, the question or the controversial debate: should you change bits, change budgets, or pause campaigns? And from my experience, all three work. So this is also not according to me. This is also according to PPC Ninja. So PPC Ninja obviously is a Amazon Advanced partner, which in order to get that badge, you have to have the certifications and you have to have a minimum number of teammates that have the certification. So there's a baseline credibility that has to be achieved based on certifications of Amazon itself. Okay, and if you want to check the credibility of a source, okay, I always like to go to the partner directory, which will be linked down below, and I like if I vet the resource, I like to put in the name here, and then I want to check, okay, are they an advanced partner or are they only a verified partner, and are they certified? Okay, because yeah, I think that's just like important to be to have credentials and certifications, especially if it's from the source of truth, Amazon themselves, right? I'm saying that with that much passion because sometimes on LinkedIn, you always have like camps, right? You have pro this, pro that, pro changing bids, pro changing budgets, or pro pausing campaigns. And I believe like every tactic is just a tool in the toolbox that has pros and cons, right? The truth is, again, always somewhere in the middle. And sometimes changing bids is beneficial and sometimes changing budgets is beneficial, right? So what I like to do, how I use my workflow, and I'll show you. So this here is a account where we have successfully deployed pausing campaigns and changing bits as a tactic, and the account year to date is up 10% and the TACOS is down 13.93%. Okay, so obviously that's also due to the elite world-class listing quality and product quality of the company. But some people say, oh, pausing campaigns is so bad and hurts your campaign score. Sorry, but obviously it doesn't. Obviously it doesn't, right? Like, I mean, I don't really care about my opinion. I don't care about my opinion. I don't care about other people's opinion. That might be like mean or controversial, but the only thing that I care about is results and data. And obviously the data tells me that pausing campaigns is not that bad, right? So some people say that there is a campaign, like that it hurts your campaign score, right? That it hurts your deliverability. And let's address that real quickly, that objection. Let's handle that objection quickly. So before we like dive into that, though, how I like to structure the workflow is, first, let's say the target TACOS is let's say 12%, right, before VAT. So then what I like to do is we check the TACOS on a hourly basis if it's not on target, because honestly the more often you check it, or like the shorter the intervals are, the better you will be. Like, from my experience, that's how I've gotten the best results, right? And my case studies are I have a lot to learn, and I'm relatively young in my career, but I have a like absolutely bulletproof track record of achieving results the last 3 years. Like, I provide proof of contacts of the companies, so that I'm speaking the truth and I'm not lying, okay? But like, that's how I've seen the best results. So what I first do is first check, the first check is always, okay, then the rule is, okay, if we're under target, I don't do anything. I might change, lower 1 or 2 bits, but like, I don't do too much, right? Never change what's working. So if first check, if over target, like if on target, leave it. If over target, then first check, I pause. Then I pause. Then second check is and then obviously we would have to, we have a flow chart now, but like, let's keep it simple, because second check is just, okay, let's say we are over target. First check, we lowered bits, and second check, we still see it over target, or it might even increased, right? Then I go ahead and I pause, and I mean, like, do whatever you want to do. I'm just here to help and to provide solutions to the problems that I had. And I am not a founder who is in the account, who's not in the account anymore, right? But I'm an operator who's in the trenches every day, right? Now, I'm not talking about founders meaning agency founders. I'm meaning sellers, okay? Because at the end of the day, the sellers are the ones who have skin in the game, right? It's always easy to say, oh yeah, high ACOS is okay. It's easy to say if you're not spending your own money, right? It's easy to say if you're not spending your own money, right? So I have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of the account that I'm managing and to get TACOS as low as possible while obviously increasing top line, or keeping, at least keeping top line stable while lowering cost, or increasing top line while keeping, cost stable, or ideally both, right? In a perfect scenario. So what some people, the objection that a lot of people have when lowering bids is, is that it's penalizing your campaign score, right? That Amazon somehow penalizes you for, pausing the campaigns. And, you know, I haven't found an official source. I haven't found an official resource to verify or validate that information. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just post it down under the video. I keep an open mind. I have no problem with my ego. I have a humble ego. If I make a mistake or I'm wrong, I just admit it and I change my mind, right? Because I have a flexible character and a healthy character, and I can change my mind if I understand that I'm wrong. So let's look at what Amazon actually says, because Amazon at the end of the day, the supported, like the documentation of Amazon at the end of the day is the source of truth. So Pacvue, how you do that technically is with a tool like Pacvue. Pacvue was so nice to give me access to the demo account. So in Pacvue, you can use any tool, but like Pacvue, from my experience, is just the market leader. And then you will be able to go into the day parting scheduler. And first I would use a tool. First I would use a tool like this from Profitwave, for example, where you get a free, they basically offer you a free day partying, dashboard for you to see, okay, on what days and, during what hour you have the highest tacos. And then once and ideally you should segment that on ASIN level, right? And you should evaluate, at least for the top 20% of products that make 80% of the revenue, you should evaluate the hourly and daily performance. And then you can go into a tool like Pacvue. Again, like there are different tools, like, for example, IntentWise, of course, Scale Insights, AdLabs, but I haven't used those tools, to be honest. So I just like to use a UI of Pacvue, honestly. So thank you for them giving me the demo account. And how you do it in Pacvue is basically just, okay, let's see, you've evaluated for an account that, the TACOS is really spiking and conversion rate is decreasing after like 11 o'clock up until like 3 a.m. Then you would go here, right? And you would just enable campaigns during those times. And then you can see, okay, in the great times, the campaigns are being paused basically. And then you could create another schedule, maybe, for example, so let's use the, sheet from AdLab. So that's the sheet from AdLabs, of course. Let's see, okay, during the times from like 5 up until like 11 p.m., you see the best, conversion rate and the best ACOS, but like not necessarily the highest spend, right? If we're looking, we hit the highest spend hours during like 1700, which is obviously also directly correlated to the total amount of impressions in the market. But we still could go ahead and then increase the bids from like 5 to 11 p.m. and like, increase the bid by 10%, for example. And honestly, I don't know, I haven't really used Scale Insights. And for example, that's the technically best tool that I've seen when it comes to day partying, because honestly, like Pacvue is just they just have day partying schedule that I've seen, because it just gives you the most options. Like they said, it's based on your relevance and your bid. Okay, at the end of the day, Amazon PPC, pay per click, is just a auction. Okay, and I haven't found an official documentation. Maybe there's an official documentation regarding the A9 algorithm, but I haven't found it yet. Okay, so and like a lot of people say that it's, from my observation, like where the people who say that you get penalized from Amazon is that, I get where they're coming from, because sometimes when you reactivate the campaign, then it takes a while for the campaign to, gain traction and to display. So I agree in the sense of that every tactic has their pros and cons, right? When you change bits, it's less, immediate, and you give more control to Amazon, but you keep the momentum, okay? But like when you pause campaigns, you have more control, you cut the spend, and then, but like you take out all of the momentum, okay? But sometimes, especially, trust me, I'm looking at the tacos every other hour, okay? For years, okay? And every day, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, okay? And especially like in the last 2 hours of the day, right? You always see the tacos creeping up from like 11 and then all of a sudden 12, 13%. So Amazon obviously, would prefer if you run at a higher tacos, obviously, right? Because ads is their most profitable department. But like a concept, a law of nature, right? You hear me a lot like talking about the laws of nature and like the laws of physics, because that's the first principles of reality and also of mathematics and also of Amazon, right? Like I think we would be pretty arrogant to assume that the laws of nature and the laws of physics all of a sudden stop working in Amazon PPC, right? So the law we're talking about is the law of momentum, right? Because like if you like the law of momentum just states that it's a feedback loop, right? It's just a feedback loop that basically you have a bid, you get displayed, you get clicked, you convert, and then you get shown to more people, you get clicked, right? It's the flywheel, right? It's also applying. The flywheel is not something that Amazon invented. The flywheel is just a feedback loop. It's just a concept of physics, right? So when you pause the campaigns, you pause all the momentum. Like the momentum goes to zero, right? And then when you start the campaign again, you can envision like the train, the steam engine train. I don't know how to say it in English, but like it takes a while for the campaign to pick up again. And but then again, like if you say, like Amazon is penalizing you just psychologically, okay? And I have a certification, a technical college entry exam in psychoanalysis and pedagogy, okay? I'm not some wannabe psychologist. I was in anyways, look it up, do your own due diligence. But I have worked in the trenches in psychology, psychoanalysis, and pedagogy. Okay? And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, like the number one question in therapy, if you've gone to therapy alone, I'm not talking about group therapy, is that you should always have empathy and ask yourself the question: if I am X, Y, and Z, then how I would do. Okay, if I am Amazon, okay, and I get paid per click, and I see an ad that has a $1.50 bit, and I have another ad that has a $1.20 click. Man, I don't think the algorithm cares. Okay, the algorithm is just a machine. It's just a machine learning algorithm. Okay, I believe, because at the end of the day we all don't know because it's a black box. But if the algorithm sees a $1.50 bid, I think the algorithm doesn't care. I think Amazon just wants the clicks. If I was Amazon, I wouldn't care about campaigns for penalizing you. I just want the clicks because it's just an auction, and the bid, like the ad with the highest bid, wins the auction. Right, so you can see this actually if you change. We can do this in another video, but if you see, okay, you don't have the top slot, you go into the ad console and you update the bid, then you see that you immediately get it, right? But from my experience, when you reactivate the campaign, sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it takes 10 minutes. So it takes more time for the steam engine to pick up speed again. Right. So yeah, that's like my little rant, I guess, or preach. But I'm just tired of people saying, oh, this is bad, I'm pro this, I'm pro that. Man, I'm pro both, because both tactics have pros and cons, right? That's the emotionally mature position to say, oh, only pausing campaigns is the right way, or only changing bits is the right way. I think it's emotionally immature from my perspective, right? Both have pros and cons. But at the end of the day, if you have, because it's not just the bid, it's also the product, it's your historical click-through rate, okay? Because if the A9 algorithm is my hypothesis, again, it's a black box, we all don't know, we all cannot see into the singularity beyond the event horizon, right? But I'm Amazon and I create the algorithm, I just care about, okay, bid and historical click-through rate, right? That's what I care about, because based on that, I can predict my revenue forecasts, right? And then if somebody pauses, all good, right? We have another one in the queue that's going up. So yeah, that's based on my observation. And to say, okay, pausing campaigns is not effective or it's horrible. I've seen some people say this on LinkedIn. Sorry, but the results that I'm getting, and feel free, or that we're getting as a team, right? I'm just a part of the puzzle. Is saying otherwise. Is saying otherwise. And honestly, again, so saying otherwise. And they're an advanced partner, not just a verified partner, but an advanced partner. Okay, so yeah, at the end of the day, I always question my biases, right? Because we all have confirmation bias, and the bias, the other side that we previously judged, might be, the one, this one side that gets us to the next level. Because I'm also not stuck in my ego. When I see, okay, pausing campaigns is not working, then I change the bits, right? But you have to be flexible. You don't have to do anything, right? I'm just recommending, because I'm passionate about it, about helping people. Because at the end of the day, if you are a PPC specialist and you are a agency, it's easy for us to say, oh yeah, 50, it's all easy to say, oh yeah, that TACOS is good. Yeah, because we're not spending our own money. We don't have skin in the game. Okay. So the sellers have the skin in the game. So that's why, and I have empathy, right? I'm not a narcissist who's lacking empathy and a sociopathic psychopath, right? Because I'm specialized in psychoanalysis of, personality disorders with a credibility, not some wannabe psychologist. And I am absolutely empathetical towards the people, okay, that have invested trust in me to could give me their baby, meaning their accounts and their brand, to take care of it. Okay, that's why I'm speaking with so much passion about the topic. So again, to wrap it up, how I operate is first, okay, where's this? Here's it. So first, if we're right under target, I'll create a legit, I linked the workflow down, the flowchart down below. But if target TACOS is under 12%, or under target, then first check I lower the bits. If then in the second check it's still not under target, or even increased, then I go in and I go in with a chainsaw, and I use the chainsaw. And then that's how I've seen good results. And another concept in physics is just, truth is also, okay, I mean, that's not really my opinion, right? There's this concept in computer science called latency, but also computer science is also based on the first principles of mathematics and physics. And that's this concept called latency, right? And in the internet speeds, and like the same concept also applies to, your workflows. Like if you run, because like we have a frequency, right? Like let me get this another picture. Like because the shorter the frequency of the waves, okay, obviously there's a concept in mathematics, but let's say like every wave is a check, an account check, right? Or like maybe use automation tools. It doesn't really matter as long as you get like as long as we get results. Then the obviously the shorter the feedback loop or the latency between the cycles in the frequency of the workflow of the feedback loop is, the better results you will get. And of course we also have that whole like attribution concept, but you should definitely measure in the performance tracking, when you do performance tracking, okay, on average, how much attribution do I really have? Okay, because sometimes from my experience, and I've been manually updating the performance sheets for years, sometimes there's no attribution. So yeah, like I would say, okay, maybe on average we have an attribution of 1 to 3%. And then like you should take that into consideration with your worst case and best case, and like guardrails or like thresholds. Because we should have, if we like think in the through the like perception of the trader, we should have a stop loss in place, that if today we're way over target, cut it, pause it, because like if the campaigns didn't catch any fish today, they'll get another chance tomorrow, but today they didn't catch any fish. So they don't get any more bait, right? Which is a good analogy, but the shorter the cycle or like the frequency of the feedback loop, the better the results from my experience, because it's also just like cause and effect and common sense. Sorry, it's not really rocket science. And yeah, my name is Paul. I think that was valuable. I believe that was valuable. See you in the next video, and that my report will be linked down below. Deuces.